a place where folks don't have a lot of demands. They can come in off of the street, come in out of the camps, and they can get acclimated to being inside.
Wayside Christian Mission is the city's biggest shelter, often the shelter recommended by the city of Louisville, especially in white flag warnings like we saw last week. Wayside takes in hundreds of people off the street, but as Focus reporter Travis Breeze found out, they've been running without a license since it was denied in 2023. This investigation is our top story at 6. I'm Connie Leonard, and Travis joins us now. So Travis, how did this happen and how did you learn about it?
Well, I learned about it when last week I was asking Nina Mosley, the CEO of Wayside, about their capacity, and she told me that during the winter storm, but also always, they are allowed to have up to 640 people on their shelter. I wanted to confirm that number and make sure all the documents were up to date. I found in publicly available records that the city that the shelter has not had an approved license since fall 2023.
These are folks, this is where we do check-in at 3. A lot of these folks are waiting for check-in.
Louisville's homeless population has grown in recent years. One place is responsible for housing most of that increase.
We just do the best we can.
Nina Mosley started Wayside Christian Mission almost 40 years ago. The fullest room today is the Low Barrier Shelter, which opened on Christmas Eve 2018. This is the place Mayor Greenberg's office most often tells people to find shelter. 88 people get packed into this room, sleeping just a few feet away from the next person. Would you like it to be less people if you could in here?
It's meeting a need, and it's full almost every night.
According to the Louisville Business Portal, Wayside's shelter license expired September 1st, 2023. A shelter license outlines how many people you will serve, who is CPR certified, and all your plans for disease control. The license was for 342 people in shelter operations. Mosley says there's about 250 other clients in veterans programs, drug and alcohol recovery, or apartments that don't fall under the license.
It's codes and licenses, which tells how many occupants can be on a certain size property. That's where the 640 is coming from.
But you also told me on the phone earlier today that you don't think you have a current shelter license. Is that correct?
That's correct. Now, we didn't apply. We're getting ready to submit again for a shelter license.
Wayside's renewal application was denied September 8th, 2023. Mosley says a staff member let the city inspector into the wrong building and the inspector didn't see the full shelter.
They didn't even come and inspect the shelter that they were supposed to inspect.
She showed me their 2023 failed application, and it notes a few things like cleaning the floors and missing ceiling tiles. She wanted the inspector to come back to try again, but she didn't hound the city for it, and the city never required it. She says she didn't reapply in 2024 because much of the shelter is under renovation, and she wanted to wait until it was over. In response to our question of how this was never addressed, the city said in part, "The Department of Codes and Regulations is dedicated to ensuring that shelters are properly licensed to promote public safety. We are committed to assisting Wayside Christian Mission and any shelter in navigating the application and inspection process."
Wayside is not new to this. We are regular citizens trying to help save lives, and we were shut down for doing something good.
Amanda Mills and South End Street Angels were ticketed and told to stop their pop-up shelter in a restaurant last week because they didn't have the proper license.
If there's going to be operations of any houseless services, it needs to be held to the same standard across the board.
This is just for the Jefferson Street campus.
The day after our interview, Mosley started a new shelter license application. It lists 388 people in shelter. Major Joe Williams, an assistant fire marshal with Louisville Fire, said over email, for White Flag, occupancies are still required to stay at or below their calculated/approved occupant loads. Wayside has passed several other inspections in the last 16 months, like a food permit that's approved until the end of 2025 and a fire alarm inspection. I asked the city how Wayside was allowed to operate for so long without a license, and for clarification on their legal capacity, I did not receive a clear answer. Since I brought this concern to the city, Nina Mosley tells me inspections are being scheduled for their new shot at a shelter license. In the studio, Travis Breeze, WHAS 11 on your side.
All right, Travis, thank you for that story. And if you have a story for our Focus team to investigate, send us an email. You can message us at focus@whas11.com.